Hey folks, it's Lindsey Hustle with SPS back in the building over at the Detroit Pistons, Little Caesars Arena, and I'm with the bad boy himself, Mr. Rick Mahorn, taking time to spend time with SPS on the NPHC night, representing Hampton.
Always.
Hall of Fame of Hampton.
Thank you.
Right? All the
Appreciate
time.
it.
Well, my experience go back to growing up watching you guys as bad boys, and I'm just so interested in seeing what your perspective is now with how going to Hampton, a great institution, but that wasn't known for being a basketball powerhouse, sending guys to the NBA, having the impact you've had on the NBA. And here we are at LCA celebrating NPHC, the National Pan-Hellenic Council with all the Black Letter Greek organizations, and of course HBCUs. I spent a year at Morehouse, so I get it. So what is it like, how things have come full circle for your recognition and what we're doing here tonight with the Pistons?
Well, the thing is that, I basically put Hampton on the map, even though it was on the map already. Never knew when I grew up that Hampton was a black college. The only thing that we recognized being from Connecticut was being what we saw in the books, the Howards, the Morehouses, the Tuskegees, and that's it. So when I went to visit Hampton, it was like, whoa, this is a black college. Didn't know. You up north,
Right.
First thing you're thinking about is like, oh, okay, college is college. But going to Hampton, I learned an education, but not only an education for life, but an education on how to deal with life circumstances. And
Right.
a lot of times people don't understand, as being African American, you don't understand the struggles that you're going to go through in school, but also to compete in the workforce. So the thing to me is that learning how to deal with life situations and being educated helps you to be a double-edged sword.
I like that. It almost seems like the HBCU experience requires being apologetic almost of why you make those decisions, but you're clearly talking about how that worked. And from a basketball standpoint, to go from an HBCU that wasn't even on your radar to making it to the NBA, talk about that unique experience within itself.
Well, first and foremost, I didn't start playing basketball until my senior year in high school. So I had a growth spurt, and next thing you know, I was playing football. I was a better football player than basketball. And so I guess I took that football mentality in the game I got now, or the game that I had. But the thing was, it was something that God, I guess, said, okay, let's go to Hampton. Let's see what it's all about. I was being recruited for football, but I got tired. You get tired of playing in the cold.
Yeah.
You get tired of just, same routine once a week. I just tried basketball, made basketball team my senior year in high school. Didn't do too bad, didn't know how to shoot, didn't know how to walk and chew bubblegum at the same time. But I had these two college coaches that said to my mother at that time, said, one thing about your son, he will get a good education. And that was the first thing that sparked my mother's interest. And then I just went down there, and when I went on the yard, I didn't know it was a black school until I went down there in September for school. And I'm like, whoa, this is a black college?
And let's talk geographically speaking. You guys are right there on the peninsula. You're right there on that water. I mean, the beauty in that too.
Well, you couldn't, from where I grew up in the surroundings, from a welfare kid to get down to Hampton, it took me 22 hours on a Greyhound because we couldn't afford a ticket like that. But the fact of the matter, come from Connecticut to Virginia, I didn't know. And being 17 years old, going away from home, that was the first time and an experience that I had that was like, wow, this is the best experience ever. That I had to learn to grow up. To catch a bus by myself.
Even that first experience getting there.
And it took 22 hours because I had to change and find my way, the directions. But once I got to Hampton, it was kind of like I'm home, because if I got homesick, most of the guys that I played ball with and things to that nature would go to school within Connecticut.
They would say local.
And then once they went local, they can come back home.
Right.
I didn't want to come back home. I wanted to stay away where my mother couldn't afford to bring me home. But, get there, this coach took me. I didn't know how to play, couldn't make a left-hand layup, couldn't make a right-hand layup, couldn't shoot the ball. But they worked with me. Even though I hated every second of it, I was there early, stayed late, worked on the game, and then finally my freshman year I averaged like 5 points, 6 rebounds, and next thing you know, the next year I came back and I made All-American. The last 3 years. So the impact that my college coaches and my teammates had on me just made me feel like, okay, I can achieve a lot of things. Not only that I didn't use basketball as a vehicle not to go to school. My teachers didn't know me as Ricky Mahorn. They knew me as Derek, they kept thinking I had a twin brother.
Oh, wow.
So it was kind of crazy, but it was fun because there's one teacher that nobody liked, Dr. Suggs. was one of the best. She was the head of the business department. Nobody would take her class, Lindsay. Nobody. So I had to take her class because it was in my major.
Right.
I took the class, and next thing you know, I'm in there. You know, I'm going there doing my work, going to class. And so one day, I'm in the classroom. I must have had like a 40-something point game, and some people walked in, and you know, they were coming to talk to her, and the one said, "Good game last night. Good game last night." You know, and she don't read the sports page. So Dr. Suggs, like Mary Suggs, she was like, "You mean you're talking to Derek?" And then the girl said, "Yeah, that's equal." And then when she realized I was Ricky Mahorn, she said she never read the sports page on her newspaper. Always the business, the national news, and the lifestyle. Sports page was always in the trash.
Wow.
Within that next week, she gave me all these sports pages. She saw my name in the paper.
She became your researcher.
Yep. She came all the way to the point that she kept the stuff and gave it to me.
Really?
And I thought it was like, oh my God.
Chronicler had everything for you.
And then she was like, one thing that I respected about you, you came to class and never complained.
Oh, you weren't a pompous
athlete?
No,
I wasn't a touched athlete.
That was you.
Yeah.
So you transitioned. I bet your coaches and teammates now can say, yeah, we knew he was a future NBA champion or something like that.
No. My whole dream was to become a high school principal. I wanted to go back to be a high school principal.
Principal Mahorn?
Yeah, and I would have probably,
this is a jewel you giving me, man.
I would be up there. Come here.
Joe Clark 2.0.
But the thing was to teach, to teach. That was my motto, because kids were so important to me, even though I was a 17, 18, 19-year-old young man, I was still trying to make sure the kids, I didn't, the bullying and all that. I wanted to be ingratiated with them. So I didn't realize I was in the NBA until about the third year in the NBA, when I realized, because we didn't have social media back then, I'm taking a girl out in California after we lost to the Celtics in the playoffs, and we had this. I got that moniker Beef Brothers, and McFilthy and McNasty.
Yeah, bump and thump and all that.
Yeah, but I went to date this girl out in San Francisco, and she went, grabbed a newspaper. I'm looking at this, and I read my name in there. And I'm saying, I'm in San Francisco. I'm not in D.C.
Yeah.
I'm not at home in Connecticut.
Yeah.
I'm in.
It's not Dr. Suggs.
I see my name in there. I was like, what? Then I realized I was in the NBA.
You realize that. You dropped a jewel on me in so many things, but to talk about the most misunderstood athlete, you're talking about your desire to be a principal and give back, but you were known as being one of the most toughest dude that was out there that could, So were you feel like you were misunderstood throughout your part, or was it purposeful?
It was not that it was purposeful. I had a job, and when you're playing at a small Division II school, I had to prove myself that I can play amongst people who were at these big schools. I found myself, competing and like, okay, I don't care who you are.
Right.
I looked at you as a combatant. I didn't care what you did, and from your life, ain't nobody better than you.
No.
And my mother told me, nobody's better than you, and you ain't better than nobody.
Sound like my mother
I sat there, and I think Alice Mahorn would be like right on my shoulder saying, I got this. And that's the fact of the matter. Respect, but also make them respect too.
Yeah. Did you ever feel pressure to come off of that because Bad Boys became such a thing? Did you ever feel pressure to back off? Or did the league, God rest his soul, David Stern, did he ever reach out and say, hey, man?
Well, they're the ones who started. Nobody knows that when they started this Motor City, there was a thing that was a video that was out that came out the year we went and played the Celtics, and it came out Motor City Bad Boys.
Yeah.
Now, the league has to approve all this stuff. So that's when that Motor City came out. And then we're going like, okay, they're the Motor City. Then next thing you know, we were the Bad Boys.
Bad Boys.
So then we just said Bad Boys wear black. And then the Raiders adopted us. So now it was like,
for the record, you guys were first, then the Raiders came after that.
Well, the Raiders were there already.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, man. Lester Hayes and all that.
But then they said, we want to bring this in.
They adopted us. Al Davis. Al Davis adopted us, because next thing you know, they sent us this guy, Arnie Arnie Ornstein was working with the Raiders and kind of adopted us and gave us, we had gear. We were the Raiders. We had. I still got my Raiders jersey.
Are you serious?
With the 44 in my neck, man.
They say we see in you what we were.
Yep.
You guys
excellence. What it says. Right. The commitment to excellence.
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter, we were just love to hate the bad boy.
Yeah. What kind of love do you get as you travel the world now?
I get a lot of love because you know what the thing is. I wasn't a superstar. I'm not a man. Was I ever planning to be a superstar? No. I'm just me. And as long as I'm me, nobody can take that from me. And I don't have to give them a facade.
But it's so interesting you say you're not a superstar. We'll say someone like Charles Barkley, who we all saw as this formidable foe, even when he talks now. You challenged all these guys. You made all these guys, meet you on your level. So to not be a superstar, but superstars,
I competed. They respect me because I competed. And the fact of the matter, just because of where you are, what you got, or where you're from, don't mean you're better than me.
Yeah.
I look at you, I respect you just as you respect me.
Yeah.
But if you want to give me some bullshit, I'll tell you fuck you too.
Yeah,
sorry, I didn't mean, but I'll give it to
okay.
him.
We're talking bad boy talk. Let's talk about you being on the sideline and always being a fixture with the Pistons and being so close to the game. Talk about how you feel about today's NBA, today's college and high school basketball, in the sense of what advice can you give to these young guys and young ladies that are coming up?
I give for the athletes, I figure, a lot of times you get so much pressure where you have to play one sport all the time. Your body never develops.
Right.
I played football, then I played basketball. Then I went and played golf so I could get 3 letters in high school.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. You still get out there and hit it sometimes?
Yeah, when my back ain't bothering me, when that back bothers me. But when I did that, it was for what I needed to do.
Right.
And then I had a chance to rest. There's so much pressure on these young athletes today that you have to be, I got to have a trainer. I got to play a game. I got to play a tournament. It's no time to grow as a kid. It's no time to grow as an adult. I understand the pressure because either your parents or you want to get to this level. But the thing is, if you're going to get to this level, God will bless you at this level.
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter, not everybody's going to play in the NBA. We're 0.00% of everything.
Yeah.
And when you look at it, NBA players, anybody's playing professional sports is 0.1% of everybody in the world.
Wow. And so it's almost, unfathomable that we expect people to believe that they can do it, though you want to talk positively to them, but the odds are just not in their favor.
But the thing is, you use basketball as a tool to get where you want. Maybe you're not in the NBA, but you can work in an office. Mm-hmm. This is something that opens the door. Then you can do different things.
Right.
Like everybody ain't gonna make the NBA.
Right.
And everybody ain't gonna be able to shoot, dribble, and all that, because you better have plan A, B, and C, because you don't know what's going to happen. Injuries you're 1 second away from injury.
Yeah. We talk about this NBA now and you getting your recognition in college. What do you want your legacy to be for the NBA, for sports, or just the world?
As my legacy for everybody, live your dream, be who you are. Don't change anything. I don't want to change nothing. I wouldn't say, well, if I could go back in time. I don't want to go back in time. I'm happy with what I am and where I'm at today. Don't matter. Everything's meant to be is going to be.
I'm sitting here, and as I approached you, and I'm putting my sports psychology hat on now, I sense your comfort and peace in who you are. And I think that's important to say, because people who've had the experience you've had may not be content. What advice can you give to someone who's still wrestling with trying to reconcile the past, or feeling they messed up this or messed up that?
Let it go, because you can't live the time behind you. You got to live the time in front of you. Life's too short. I mean, I don't have my mother, I don't have my brother, I don't have my sister. I wish.
But you got a grandchild on the way.
Yeah, I got one on the way, and I'm glad, thanks. But it's the fact that I try to look at it, Lindsay, we're all a second away from not being here. And if you don't enjoy this moment you have, then you're missing out. Yeah. I can't live what I did in the past, but I can make sure I get get in the future and enjoy the hell out of it. I like this ride. I'm riding and having a good time.
Yeah, well, I'm enjoying the fact. I appreciate you sitting down. And for the record, he's not big timing us with the sunglasses. He just needed something to help with the glare. But I appreciate all that, man. You share so much.
When you get a mild concussion like I got, the light, the glare, that kind of messes with you. And that's life. Everybody has mental health issues. Everybody has something wrong with them. But I'm going to make sure it works. You can go on. You can go on. You can sit here.
You see, well, this is part one of
Okay.
our series of staying in touch with Rick, because you're sharing something that so many people are going to benefit from. I appreciate
No problem,
your availability, you
no
being
problem.
you, and everything you went through, and what you're going to go through going forward too.
Yep, life is too short.
Yeah, it
Make
is.
sure you be in there.
It is. I'm trying to see how I can get a pair of these 15s he got with these dope Hamps he got on right now.
Yeah.
We're going to work on that, though. That's another. He said you just wear more socks. I wear 13. I wear more socks.
More socks.
More socks, and that's it. Hey, Lindsay Ellison with SPS. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.